Right, let's get started, shall we? If you ever wondered, why am I such a weirdo and such an outcast? Don't worry mate, good news. You're not as weird as you think. Following up are 10 examples to prove it. Number 1. The case of Sanju Bhagat, or male pregnancy. Mr. Sanju Bhagat is a farmer from Nagpur in India. Until 36 years of age, he lived his whole life with an overly swollen stomach. He had always felt very self-conscious because of his big belly, and the other villagers teased him since he did look like 9 months pregnant. They probably had no clue they weren't far off. One night in 1999, however, the problem suddenly got much worse as breathing became difficult for Sanju, and he was immediately rushed to a hospital in Mumbai for emergency surgery. The doctors thought there would be some sort of tumor growing inside his stomach, but then things got weird. What they removed from his body was one limb, another limb, some genitalia, bit of hair afterwards, and fingernails, more limbs, jaws. It looked like Sanju Bhagat had indeed given birth. How's that possible? Well, there is an extremely rare and bizarre medical condition called Fetus in Fetu. It happens when things go a bit messy inside the mother's belly and a twin fetus gets trapped inside its other twin. It can survive as a parasite even past birth by forming an umbilical cord-like structure and leach the twin's blood. When it grows too big and harms the host, doctors have to intervene. And that's exactly what happened in Sanju Bhagat's case. Since Sanju showed no signs of discomfort, apart from maybe insecurity around women, nobody suspected something like this. Right after the surgery, his pain disappeared and he recovered immediately. His weight reduced from over 90 to about 40 kilograms. Today he is in good health, still being teased for having a baby sometimes, but otherwise he is well and probably doesn't bother the teasing too much after all he's been through. Number 2. The man who raised his arm for almost 40 years. There are quite a number of gods and religions and practices of worship in this world. Some are more extreme than others and appear quite shocking to outsiders. Some involve diet or doing some praying at certain times. Some practitioners don't seem to be doing an awful lot at all. Meet Sadhu Amar Bharati, who, in devotion to the Hindu deity Shiva, raised his arm on one day in 1973 and still hasn't put it back down. Mahant Amar Bharati Ji, that had been his name before, led a normal middle-class life with a proper job, wife and 3 children until one day when he woke up, realized none of this truly matters and chose to devote himself to his beliefs and the god Shiva. 3 years later he noticed his devotion wasn't as strong as he'd wished for, and he raised his arm to the sky in honor to Shiva and to further disconnect him from worldly pleasures and luxuries. As you would expect, he experienced numbness and tingling in his arm and it fell asleep, as we say. As you probably know, at some point this becomes incredibly painful, but he endured the pain. After a while, he stated, the pain subsided. The muscles have atrophied, his arm has shrunk, like a dead tree. He also hasn't clipped his fingernails for decades as he can't reach his other hand anymore. He's told the media that his act is supposed to be a protest for world peace. And he isn't alone with his weird practice. Other sadhus, which is the Hindu word for a holy person, continue the tradition and have their arms raised for over 10 years now. Number 3. The Spark Ranger. Sounds like a proper superhero, and in a way he does have his own special superpower. Roy Sullivan was a United States Park Ranger in the Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. The title Spark Ranger, among others, was given to him because between 1942 and 1977 he was hit by lightning on 7 different occasions, and somehow he managed to survive all of them. This has also been recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records. Strike 1 in 1942 happened when Roy was with the Rangers for about 6 years. He was hiding from a thunderstorm in a lookout tower. It was newly built and didn't have any lightning rods on it yet. It was hit multiple times before Roy decided to frickin' leg it. Still, the lightning got him. Strike 2 happened in 1969. He was hit in his truck, which is unusual because, as we know, cars act as a Faraday cage. The lightning hit nearby trees and was then deflected through the truck's open window. It knocked him unconscious, burnt off his eyebrows and eyelashes, and set his hair on fire. 1 year later, in 1970, he got hit for the 3rd time. He was casually going about his business in his yard when the lightning hit a power transformer and from there jumped to his shoulder. Strike 4 in 1972. This time it set the poor bloke on fire. He started to believe a greater power wanted him dead or he attracted lightning magically. Strike 5 happened in 1973. Roy was on patrol, saw a storm coming up and, being hit by lightning 4 times already, drove away as fast as he could. He then learned from the incident a few years ago, this time left his truck, but was hit again. His hair was burnt again and the lightning actually knocked knocked off his shoe. He then crawled over to his truck where, surprise, he prepared a can of water in case of lightning strikes setting him on fire and was able to extinguish it. Strike number 6 happened in 1976. He retired after this one. Finally, strike number 7. Sullivan minding his business and doing some fishing, the lightning still found him even in his free time. On his way back to his car, he even ran into a bear, which he then had to fight off with a stick. Roy Sullivan died at the age of 71 in 1983. Not from a lightning strike, but rather sadly from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. By the way, in case you were wondering, the odds of getting struck by lightning just once are about 1 in 280 million. Number 4. The Man Who Eats Everything. Michel Lotito, born in 1950, was a French entertainer and indeed one of a kind. He became famous as the man who could eat everything and started doing so in his teenage years at around 16. He could eat even the most dangerous and indigestible things, stuff made of metal, glass and rubber. Examples? Yes please. Throughout the years he ate 1 pair of skis, 2 beds, 15 shopping carts, a coffin, just a coffin, 6 chandeliers, a computer, 18 bicycles, 7 tellies, and a whole Cessna aircraft which took roughly 2 years to be eaten from 1978 to 1980. How did he do that? Apparently his intestinal walls were twice as thick as normal and his digestive acids were unusually powerful, which allowed him to process these things. Metal is highly poisonous to eat. During his performances he would usually have a bit of mineral oil as an aperitif, eat 1 kilogram of metal and quite a bit of water. He broke the metal into small pieces beforehand. Water and oil helped him to get the stuff down his throat. He stated he suffered from almost no side effects despite his weird diet. Eggs and bananas, however, made him sick. Lotito eventually died in 2007 due to natural causes. Needless to say, but since this is 2016, do not try this at home. Number 5. The Man Who Lived in an Airport. Miran Karimi Nasseri, an Iranian refugee, had been living in the lounge of Terminal 1 in Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris for 17 years, since August the 8th in 1988. Apparently, as he was imprisoned, tortured and finally expelled from Iran, he applied for asylum in many European countries, but without luck. He wanted to make his way for the UK, but was refused to enter since he had no passport, and the staff at Heathrow in London sent him back to the same airport in Paris. The French then refused to let him back too. Why that? Well, before his flight to London, the poor chap also got his bag stolen and therefore lost all his official documentation. He had no possibility of proving his identity or his refugee status to anyone. A court decided that Miran could not be removed from the airport either. He was eventually moved to the zone d'attente, which is French for waiting zone, and that was made for travelers without proper documentation. Little did he know this would become his home for almost 2 decades. Attempts were made to have new documents from Iran issued from Belgium, but the Belgian authorities required him to be there in person, which obviously didn't work. According to Belgian law, however, that again meant he wouldn't be able to return and would have to stay in Belgium instead. And who would want that? They eventually granted him permission to return, but the requirement was that he must live under supervision of a social worker, which Miran refused. He stayed and lived at the French airport instead. Unable to leave in any direction, he was trapped at the airport for 17 years, a nightmare indeed. Food was provided by kind employees and passengers, and he used the time to read, write and even study economics. His stay ended in 2006 when he was hospitalized and afterwards continued to live in a shelter in Paris. An incredible story, and all caused by paperwork. The story about Miran was actually the inspiration for Tom Hanks' movie The Terminal, which came out in 2004. Number 6. The Human Smurf. There isn't all too much to say about the Human Smurf, but a weirdness meter goes off. The name is Paul Carrison, and he became famous after turning himself permanently blue. He began taking colloidal silver decades ago to treat a skin condition. Very ironic indeed. The skin condition he then got in return, turning him blue, is called Igeria and leads to the deposit of silver salts in the skin. Carrison reportedly drank the remedy and rubbed it on his skin. Colloidal silver is a liquid made by extracting silver from metal, and it was used as an antibiotic decades ago. Due to its side effects, however, the Food and Drug Administration banned silver as a medical treatment long ago. The change in Paul Carrison's skin color was so gradual, neither his friends, nor family, nor even himself perceived the change. A friend who hadn't seen him in a while had to point it out. Paul led a reclusive life but appeared in a talk show in 2008. In 2013, Paul passed away at the age of 62 after suffering a heart attack. Number 7. The Human Barbie doll. Valeria Lukyanova, a Ukrainian model and entertainer, has done everything possible to transform herself into a living Barbie doll. It was a few years ago since reports about her appearance went viral, so you might have heard of her. She famously spent 5 years modeling her body after the popular children's doll. In 2007, Valeria took part in a beauty contest called Miss Diamond Crown of the World with about 300 contestants. Valeria won and afterwards gained the attention of the Russian media. She rose to prominence in 2013 after articles on the internet reported about her almost inhuman beauty. Gaining further attention of the international media, she was described as the human Barbie doll or the living Barbie, names and titles the media gave her which she herself wasn't awfully fond of. How did she do it though? Daily workouts and a so-called breatharianism diet, she claimed, which is when your diet sort of only consists of light or something. Plastic surgery is more likely, but she said she has only had her breasts done, adding a bit of makeup here and there and nothing more. She managed to keep her legs in shape only thanks to her workouts. Bollocks, eh? We thought so too, but do have a look at her now. First of all, the change in appearance is quite drastic. Looking at the results, we are sure she must know a thing or two about proper workout plans. Number 8. The story of Karen Overhill. Multiple personality disorder is a serious mental disorder characterized by at least 2 identities or personalities within one individual. One is usually dominant, but depending on the situation, those personalities can switch, making the individual feel like he isn't in control of himself anymore. This is bad enough already, but now imagine having 17 personalities within yourself and how confused you would feel. Karen Overhill, which is not her real name by the way, experienced exactly this, and all of the 17 personalities had their own voice, unique character traits and quirks. In 1999 she started finding herself in strange places with no idea how she had gotten there. Bookmarks in her books were beyond the point she recalled reading to. Karen also heard voices at night recapping the previous day's events and often ran into people who knew her but not the other way around. After giving birth, she did not even recognize the people beside her bed were her family. She eventually saw a psychiatrist who hypnotized her and found out about the many personalities living inside her. They were male and female, black and white, and an age ranged from 2 to mid-30, all very different. The cause for multiple personality disorder are mostly traumatizing events, such as sexual abuse. Together with a psychiatrist, Karen eventually found a cure to get rid of all the personalities and unite them within her. The psychiatrist, Dr. Richard Baer, wrote a book about the therapy called Switching Time, in case you're interested. Number 9. The Unicorn Woman. You might be thinking of sparkling rainbows and stuff now, but we're not going there. Ever wanted to become a unicorn? Well, good news! With a very rare disease, you can. Doesn't look as sparkly as you would imagine, unfortunately. That condition is called a cutaneous horn. It looks like this and it is caused by a virus and ranges from small to quite big. Apparently, they exclusively appear in men over 50 and women over 60. They are made of keratin, the same substance hair or fingernails are made of. Or proper bull horns, for instance. The most famous examples are 2 elderly ladies from China. For Liang Zuiqian from Sichuan, it started with a small black mole right on top of her head. It eventually started growing to over 12 centimeters in length and over 5 centimeters in diameter. It now looks like an animal horn and thus the name Unicorn Woman. In her case, the horn has become too large to be removed. The other lady, also from China, is called Zhang Ruifang and over 100 years old. She had a single 6 centimeter long horn growing from the right side of her forehead. Most of the horns aren't life-threatening, but they are prone to constant infections which compromises the quality of life of the affected people, apart from the looks they're getting obviously. Number 10. The tallest man alive. The tallest man ever, Robert Wadlow, was an astonishing 2.72 meters tall. He died in 1940 and in terms of height, no one surpassed him yet. There are a few, however, who came very close. Among them is the Kurdish farmer Sultan Kozan, 31 years old, from Turkey. He is magnificent 2.51 meters tall and wishes he was at least 1 foot shorter. His parents and siblings are all of average height, so in his case it's not genetics that helped him become the tallest person in the world. Responsible for this is an endocrine disorder called pituitary gigantism, which causes the release of growth hormones to be released forever. Doctors actually had to treat Sultan to stop him from growing even taller. Unfortunately, this condition also has other side effects. The rapid growth kind of messes with the body's natural proportions and it is very harmful for the joints. Sultan Kozan therefore has to walk with crutches. He is very positive about his height though. After all, it's what got him famous. It also helped him land a role in a big Hollywood movie in the making called Achieving the Impossible. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, subscribe if you like, and goodbye.